Out of all the Kobe Protro shoes, this shoe, maybe arguably the one they changed the most. And Protro, if you didn't know, means performance retro. Kobe Bryant didn't just want to retro and bring back his shoes, he wanted to upgrade them, so he came up with that term. And every year for the past few years, they've been coming out with a halo colorway on Kobe Bryant's birthday. And this year, it is time for a shoe that I've always craved as a teenager. I could never afford, but I always wanted. But I'm a man now, and I earn my own money. And I have these in hand. I've made it. Kobe 3 Protro Halo. Now this shoe is dropping on August 23rd for $210, so slightly cheaper than like the Kobe 9 Protro highs they usually get for $240. It is obviously dropping on Kobe Bryant's birthday, and the Kobe 3s first came out in 2008. That was peak of like my obsession with basketball, and just every single basketball shoe I really wanted. Had the 2K4s, I had the 2K3s even. 2K5s I was never able to get. Hyperdunks, if my memory serves me correctly, I may have owned a pair, or maybe not. I might not have. No, I probably did. They were like super hype back then, so I definitely would have saved every last penny and got a pair, so I'm pretty sure I did have a pair of Hyperdunks as well. I did have the Kobe 2 USA version, and then the Kobe 3s I never got. Again, couldn't afford it, was a teenager, worked a part-time job like after school on the weekends, just, yeah, couldn't afford it. But I really always wanted it, and finally I had these in hand, and first impressions of the Kobe 3 Protro Halo. It's so pretty. A white on white shoe, can't really go wrong. It is super wearable. I know the Kobe 3 design language is pretty kind of controversial. Some people don't love it, but I say this with all sincerity and just all honesty. I have always loved the design of this ever since it came out. It was just so bold, so different to like the Kobe 1s and 2s that it just absolutely stuck out to me. Is it like my favorite Kobe silhouette? I don't think so. The Kobe 1s and 4s are probably my favorites, but this just brings me back to a special time in terms of my love for the game. Yeah, I can't believe I have these in hand, and can't wait to just get into it, dive right into the details, because this is delicious. Now the materials on the shoe, very distinct. This kind of TPU plastic material all across the upper, very bold. Now behind this kind of netting, you do see mesh, and that is actually something they protroed. So according to Nike, they actually made this mesh more durable as well as breathable. I don't have an original Kobe 3 to like pair side by side and do an in-hand comparison, but that is Nike's words. I don't think practically it'll make like a huge difference. But one thing you do see is the tongue over here. That is slightly different to the originals. So it is more breathable and ventilated here with like that mesh material. Before it was just kind of like perforated, but like a solid tongue there. So I do like that change. On the toe box here, you get synthetic leather. See that on the tongue as well. With the Mamba logo, it's got kind of this iridescent look to it. And the Mamba logo, if you didn't know, that is supposed to represent a sword in the sheath. The Black Mamba nickname, Kobe Bryant actually got from Kill Bill. So the main protagonist, played by Uma Thurman, she called herself Black Mamba. Speaking of the tongue, another slight change here. So it is more padded than the original Kobe 3s. So the originals more thin, could like dig into someone's ankles if they didn't wear like high enough socks. Same with the ankle lining here, a bit more cushion, so that is definitely an upgrade. And moving around to the booty of the shoe, you will see these little Mamba patterns all across the heel. It's kind of subtle, a white on white colorway. It's not always immediately obvious, but up close, you can definitely see it. And of course, you see that big swoosh on the booty there. Just in case you forget what type of cushioning and technology exists in the shoe, get a little zoom piece at the heel here. Now this shoe doesn't come with any extra laces, just white laces. Honestly, I always do like when they give us extra laces, but for a halo colorway, white on white is obviously the point of the shoe and like the theme. So white laces definitely make sense in this particular colorway. And at the very bottom, you get this little lace debris that is Kobe Bryant's signature. And one more subtle detail, the stitching on the toe box, that didn't actually exist in the 2008 version. And in terms of the box, you get this long Kobe box, Mamba patterns all over, of course, more Mamba paper inside. And the shoe also comes with this booklet that actually describes the technology of the shoe and what they changed, be it in French as well as English. And now in terms of cushioning, a pretty significant change for the Kobe 3 Protros. So originally it just came with a 5-on midsole with a Zumia unit on the forefoot as well as the heel. That was pretty kind of standard for Kobe shoes back in the day. Now this shoe comes with the upgraded Cushlon 3.0 cushioning that actually originally debuted on the Sabrina 2s for Nike basketball. So it's got Cushlon 3.0 and it also has a full-length Zoom Strobel unit. So Zoom Strobel, one benefit about that is it sits directly underfoot. So the idea of it is to provide maximum responsiveness. And the insole of the shoe, just Mamba branding. It is not like the greatest insole. The real magic lies right underneath. It is that full-length Zoom Strobel. You do see the exposed foam and that little white strip right above that cupsole area. And on feet, cushioning-wise, for someone that's over 30, it definitely feels very nice. It does take a little bit of time to like wear in and really feel the responsiveness on feet. So after like 40 minutes, even just shooting around, I start to feel a bit more. And after that, it feels good for my knees. I will say it can be maybe a bit too soft, like a bit too plush. If they tweaked up like the firmness on this, I think it'll be better. Some people do really want like just as firm as possible in terms of the cushioning. This setup probably isn't it for you. Now in terms of the outsole, so you get like this diamond-shaped outsole that was actually a dedication to Natalia Bryant, Kobe Bryant's eldest daughter. Her middle name is Diamante. So this has also been upgraded. So originally, you did not get these like smaller diamonds within the diamonds. So there's more traction here. You can see it very clearly. And on the herringbone, that is like more spiky, so like more traditional herringbone. And the originals, it looks slightly different, kind of more rounded off. And the Kobe 3, the original one, traction was probably the thing that I thought was the weakest. On the Protro version, I don't think it was that great. It was good, but nothing like Elite. I think there are well better traction shoes like the Kobe 9s, the EQLZ 24/7, Sabrina 2 and 3 were better traction than this. I shoot my B-roll for basketball sneakers, same gym, even the same time, same day of the week. So in terms of maintenance, it should be pretty consistent for that gym. And this just did not perform that well. It is not the most well, clean, maintained gym. So it's a pretty good kind of test on like good traction versus elite traction versus trash. But yeah, traction for me, I think for the Kobe 3 Protros, even though it's upgraded, even though it's better than before, I don't think it's like the best that you can get in 2025. You do see the traction pattern come all the way up. So sometimes when you're playing ball, for whatever reason, your like feet might go this way and you do want some friction to prevent it from like sliding and really exposing yourself to more injuries that way. Now, in terms of the rubber itself, honestly, for a shoe this expensive, I would keep it indoors. The rubber isn't like the toughest, most stiffest type of rubber. So durability wise, you don't want to play outdoors in these. Rocks can get stuck in between these little grooves here. Now, in terms of support, you also see a carbon fiber shank. Great carbon fiber. If you didn't know, very lightweight, but very dense and strong. So it keeps the shoe from bending or twisting too easily. It adds torsional rigidity. It also adds kinetic energy return. So if you're playing ball, you want energy to return, as much energy as to return as fast as possible. And you also see these diamond kind of TPU plates on the lateral side of the shoe, and that also helps with stability. The heel counter, even though it is hidden, that does a pretty good job as well. The outrigger on the Kobe 3s is actually decently aggressive too, so I really like that. And the base of the shoe is pretty wide, so it provides a lot of contact surface with the court. So overall stability and support of the Kobe 3 Protros, I think is really well done, especially for a guard like me, who's not like a super huge heavyweight. Now, in terms of the sizing and fit, Kobe shoes for wide and flat footers like myself have traditionally never been the best type of fitting shoes, but this shoe, in terms of how wide it is, I think it feels slightly wider than shoes like the Kobe 4s. Those really kind of like strangle your feet, same with Kobe 6s. So you can go true to size for the Kobe 3s. I think it feels nice, like lengthwise, widthwise, no real heel slippage. So even for me, as a super flat footer, no like pain in the arch area. One thing I have to mention on my right foot in particular, I don't know if it's just my deformed feet, but this medial side eyelid here at the very top really just dug into my foot and it just did not feel comfortable. I had to make sure the tongue was kind of blocking that. But at times the tongue would move and this would just keep digging into my ankles and it didn't feel nice there. But that might just be a personal thing. Just wanted to mention that. Now you do sit like low enough to the court where you get a pretty good court feel, but it's not as low as some other basketball shoes. I think the Sabrina 2s, you feel closer to the court. The Kobe 9 EMs that I reviewed, the Mambasita ones at least, that felt really, really low to the ground as well, lower than this. So if you want like the lowest type of basketball sneaker, just keep that in mind. Now in terms of over comfort, if you for whatever reason want to wear this like casually off court, just walking around, it feels super comfortable. That Strobel and Cushlon 3.0 combination, it just feels great on feet. Like you feel soft and plush when you're walking around. There's no parts where I feel like if I had to walk in these all day, my feet will start to get sore, and flat footers tend to get sore a bit quicker than like non-flat footers. So yeah, casually, comfort-wise, you can definitely wear these. Then in terms of the weight, definitely not the lightest shoe that you're gonna get in 2025. In fact, it's probably one of the heaviest shoes that I've reviewed in terms of basketball performance sneakers. So keep that in mind. If you are prioritizing like a lightweight shoe, this might not be the best option. For me, I grew up like when I was playing the most ball and was really into the sport. I played in shoes that were just way heavier than modern day basketball shoes. So the weight of this doesn't really bother me. If you're younger and you're like used to very, very lightweight materials, yeah, this might be a bit of a shock to your system. Now, overall final verdict, would I still play ball in a Kobe 3 Protro in 2025? The answer is definitely yes. I think it is very great in many aspects. So cushioning feels great for an older person who like doesn't want a super firm type of setup where that can really start to take a toll on your knees. I will say if they dialed up the firmness just a tiny little bit, I think I would have preferred that a little bit more, but I still think the responsiveness and bounciness is still there. Biggest complaint of this shoe is even though they changed the outsole and the traction, I don't love how it performed. I think this is good, but definitely not great. In terms of support, I don't really have any issues here. No complaints. Outrigger, very aggressive. Carbon fiber shank, great as well. The materials on the shoe definitely keeps my life very, very contained and stable. Is it like my number one if I had to choose a basketball shoe to play in? Probably still the answer is no. The Sabrina 3s or Sabrina 2s, I think I would still take those, but this is a very good option, and I really do appreciate the amount of changes they made to this Protro version. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Nike Kobe 3 Protro Halo. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.